Welcome everybody back to another exciting video. I am your host, Arthur, with Stardust Automotive, located in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I am the #1 repair shop out in our area. Plus, hey, I'm the #9 of the top 10 engine builder in the state. Yay me. So this may be a lengthy video, so if you guys want to go ahead and pause this, take a piss break, grab yourself some food, get some popcorn, come on back, unpause the video. Hey, I'll jump right back into this thing. So look, I get so many people asking me questions about the LS and the LT engines, everything from like the early 2000s all the way up to, you know, these newer vehicles, the Gen 5s. And it all deals with clearancing and bolt torque, torque sequencing and all that jazz. So prior to the video, I already have everything clearanced out at 1.5 thou, which is 0.0015. You know, I particularly like to set these at 18 or thou, which is 0.0018. But this guy's not racing it. You know, we've done a AFM DOD delete. We got a Brian Crowder mild cam, so he's only going to be increasing another maybe 40-50 horsepower. So it's nothing too crazy. So 1.5 thou is going to be fine. Under thermal expansion, it opens up anyway, so not a big deal. So let's get to these torque sequencing. All right, so first thing is, once you got everything spec'd out, you know, I like to use a micrometer to measure the crank main journal, and then I put everything together, torque everything up in the proper sequence, and then I go in there with a dial gauge, measure, rock it back and forth, make sure I got the proper spec, check the calculations on that. And then I'll go ahead, put everything back together again. And I'm sure you guys have heard of these little guys. These are called plastic gauge. I use this just as a secondary measure, just as a backup, make sure that, you know, my micrometer and all my other tools are working right. Because, you know, every once in a while, precision tools still kind of need calibration from time to time. So it's always good to check and double check, especially when you're putting together any engine, whether it's racing or a daily driver. So like I said, I've already got everything clearanced out. So once you get your clearances done, you got your crankshaft re-cleaned again, you're going to want to go ahead and put your engine assembly lube. I use the red Permatex Ultra Slick because it sticks to this better than the graphite. I know I do use, was it the Royal Purple, wherever the hell that is. I use this from time to time. You know, if I'm putting together like an old school engine, some guys don't like it because the color does change to like a rustic brown color and they think there's something wrong with it, but it's what happens to the dye that's in it when it sits for a little bit. But anyway, so let's get back to the bearings and the clearancing and the bolt and the torque patterns. So we've already gone through the clearancing. Your machine shop will be able to take care of that. You'll clean everything up. You put your assembly lube in on the bottom and the top of the bearings. Make sure the thrust bearings that you have on these, make sure that they're greased up too. So your support, which is your number 3, again, you're going to take some assembly lube and just soak the bearing on the sides of it, underneath of it. You're good. Now, very important when you put your cap pieces back in here, okay, you'll see that they're numbered, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an area that, believe it or not, a lot of people get mixed up with. So they'll have 5 here and then 4, 3, 2, 1. While these are in order, if you notice where the tang, which if you imagine it like a boot or a shoe, right? The toe is facing towards the front of the engine on the back side, but the rest of them are going to be facing the rear of the engine, okay? So the toe of the shoe facing the back, toe towards the back, same thing. So the first 4 main caps you have are going to be facing towards the back, and then your tang on the very last one is going to be facing the front of the engine. Do not mix this up, because if you do, it's going to interfere with the way your engine is clearanced. I'm not sure why GM did it this way, but it's just the way it is. So make sure you put your caps back in the proper order and in the proper direction. That's it. The center bolts are the ones that do not have the threaded tips. And then obviously your threaded tips go on the outside. And then you have your side bolts. Now the thing with your side bolts you have to be careful of, because I haven't done it with this yet, but I'm only doing this for video purposing. You have to use sealant. So these bolts are reusable. These are not torque to yield bolts. These are degreed bolts, which is entirely different. We're not stretching them. They get degreed. But what you want to do is underneath, when you're ready to torque everything down for the final pass, you're going to load these up. I like using Honda Bond. Honda Bond is really good stuff. It tends not to leak ever. But you want to put some sealant on there so you don't have oil leaks that get underneath the cap and the block and then bleed out to the bottom of your engine. That is always a catastrophic thing. You don't want that. So, what GM calls for on these is 15 foot-pounds of torque on the inners, 15 foot-pounds of torque on the outers, 18 foot-pounds of torque on the side bolts. Here's the sequence. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, okay? You get those at 15 foot-pounds of torque. Then you go 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's it for the top. You do not worry about the side bolts yet, because now we have to degree them in. We're not stretching the bolts, but we are degreeing them in. The inner bolts, these are going to be degreed in at 80 degrees. The outer bolts, these ones are going to be degreed at 53 degrees. Once those are degreed, again, and you're going in the same proper sequence, once those are all done, then you're going to come through and you're going to go 18 foot-pounds of torque. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then everything will be set. So, my ADHD friends, hopefully you have not done anything yet and you've listened to this point, okay? So, what you want to do when you get started, like I've done at this point, right? All I've done is just hand tighten these. You do not want to torque these up to 15 foot-pounds of torque yet, and I'll tell you why. This thrust cap and these thrust bearings have to get seated first, so that if you look on the inside where that thrust bearing is, we have to get that to mate. We have to get it to seat. So grab yourself a hammer. I usually use a 46 ounce, a good steady hammer. And on the top piece here, you're just gonna lightly tap it. I mean, you don't wanna be like, little tap. I mean, you gotta crack it a good bit. What it does is it's gonna shove the whole crank forward, and it's gonna take the crank and push on that thrust. And then we can go back here and do the same thing on the back side. Now it's gonna shove it forward, and we're gonna go back this way one more time. There we go. Now what that's done is that's seated this center cap, so now that the bottom half and the top half are completely flat where they need to be. Now we can go ahead and torque up. Now if you do not have a torque wrench that can go down to 15 foot-pounds of torque, and you only have one that can go to a 1/4 inch that'll do it, then you got to do some calculations. So if you need to find out how many inch-pounds will equal 15 foot-pounds of torque, then what you do is you multiply 15, which is the torque spec you want to get at, times 12. So 15 times 12 is 180 inch-pounds. So you mark it, well, this one I got set up for the side, so I'll turn this down. But I have a 1/2 inch, I have 3/8 inch, I got a 1/2 inch, and then I've got my Matco, my $1,200 one, which is on the floor. But all these can go down all the way to 10 foot-pounds of torque. So I like using a 1/4 inch snap on just because. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put you over here, and I'll be right back in a second, and we'll start torquing these up. Hey, we're at like 10 minutes, guys. So I told you it was going to be a lengthy video, didn't I? All right. So let me go ahead and get this torque wrench turned down to 180 inch-pounds, because that's what we want. And again, any torque wrench that can go to 15 foot-pounds, whether it's 3/8, half-inch, quarter-inch, whatever, that's all you want to be able to get at. So the inner bolts here are 13 millimeters. The ones that are on the outers are 15 millimeters. So again, we're going to go in the proper order at 180. Okay. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very easy, it's not rocket science. Through each step, make sure you're grabbing the crankshaft and you're giving it a rotate just to make sure that everything is still able to smooth and nothing's binding up. Because nothing's worse than getting through all the torque sequence and then you're like, I can't move the crank. You should be able to grab it with your hand and just rotate it. See how easy that is? Very simple. Now we'll grab a 15 millimeter. Now we'll go ahead and do the outers in the same order. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now they're all at 15 foot-pounds. See how easy that is? Effortless. Now again, see how I'm not touching the side bolts yet? We don't touch those to the very, very end. All right, so now we're gonna get into the fun part. So we're gonna discuss about a degreeing wheel, all right? So that's the 15, where's my 13? All right, so we're gonna jump over here on 13. So I'm gonna show you a close-up video of this real quick. Give me 1 second here. All right, so this is what a degreer is. So the purpose of this is to be able to get the proper degree that we need. And again, we're not stretching the bolts. All we're doing is degreeing them in. It is far different. So what I usually like to do is I will rotate the crank right about there so that my degree wheel has something to bite on, right? I mean, you could very easily go low and just have it hit there. I like having it at the highest point because sometimes if you don't have your piece back here tightened enough, sometimes it'll go down and you'll kind of screw up the degree where you need to be. But once you figure out where you need to be, kind of rotate this back where you need to, like this, all right? Now remember, the inner ones go to 80. That's all we need, right? Okay, so we're trying to do all this with one hand. But you see how it's holding down there on the side of the cap? Now watch, we're gonna turn this directly to 80. That's all we need. Boom, done and done. Go back here to the second one. Sorry, kind of hard to do with one hand here. There we go. We'll go ahead and there we go. Turn this here. We'll zero that out. All right, there we go. And we're gonna do the same thing there. Keep going to 80. Boom, done. Guys, this ain't rocket science, okay? If you're a degree or two off, you know, it ain't gonna kill you. Again, it moves very easily. Give me 1 second, we'll go through the whole process here. All right, fam. So now we've already got those two done at 80. So now we're gonna do the rest of them. And this won't take long. You might have maybe 10 minutes tied up into this. Ooh, look at that. That was spot on. I like that. I like it when they go like that. Makes my life easier. There we go. Now, if you see how I keep checking it as I go around, just preventative maintenance, make sure the crankshaft's still moving. Like I said, you don't want to make any mistakes in the process and have to undo everything, because that's a lot of work to undo something. 80. Almost there, fellas. And ladies, if you're watching. There we go. All right, so the centers are now done. I'm going to go ahead, switch this up to the 15 millimeter. And remember, the outers, they get torqued or degreed to 53 degrees. Again, this is where you're going to have to really pay attention, because sometimes it can be a little bit easy to miss out on that 53, because you want to take it between at where I guess the little mark is, the first small mark. You want to get it between that first small mark and the second small mark. That's where 53 is. And again, you know, if you're a little bit off, not a big deal. But I'm a perfectionist, so everything's got to be spot on and perfect, or my OCD kicks in and it's like, no, I got to redo it again. It's got to be perfect. This crankshaft just moves so smoothly. Moves like butter, baby. Shout out to my guys at Donut, by the way. Mo power, baby. Love those guys. And if this ever reaches the guys at Donut, and you guys ever want to come down and visit me, hey, I would love that. I love your channel. Unfortunately, I don't get paid for my channel. I do this just to help y'all out. Maybe I should start monetizing this, huh? What do y'all think? Tell me in the comments if you think I should start making money off this content. Giving you guys away free work, free advice. That should be worth something, right? Yeah, worth something to somebody somewhere, right? Oh, this moves like butter. Butter, baby. Almost there. Here we go. You can see once you get started, it doesn't take long at all. Jamming out to some good music. That always helps pass the time on. 53. Back over here. And guys, look, if you forget which bolt that you're on, all right, it's okay to undo them and restart over. Do not just kind of jump in it and re-torque things and start going it like you have lost your mind. because that's when bad things happen. Now normally I'll use a marker once I'm done, and I'll just have a green little paint marker and paint them and be like, all right, that's done, that's done. But like I said, it's nearly the 4th of July, and I don't plan on being here all day long. I know what I'm doing, so ain't that big of a deal. All right, we got these 2 left. Take these last 2 at 53 degrees. I love my job. I love my customers. I got great customers. Here we go. All done. Look how easy that is. Butter, baby. Butter. All right, now I'm going to show you what needs to happen with the side bolts. So let me go over and put this down here, and let me pause the video and show you here. Don't yell at me, fam. It's been a long day. I forgot to tell you guys, make sure you chase your threads. But when you go to use the bolts, use ARP. Go get yourself some of this Ultra Torque. That way you don't have to fight the torque, the friction on the bolts going through the head. So you chase the threads, you clean everything up in the block, and then you put this on all the threaded ends and on this inner part of the head, or underneath the head. So the surface where it's bonding to it, it'll move freely. You do not do that to the side bolts. Obviously, you only put a little bit on the threads, and that's it. Use Honda Bond underneath here when you're reusing the bolts. So let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm gonna sit you right here. Y'all are gonna watch me. We're gonna have some fun together. So hopefully I got enough Honda Bond to do the rest of this. What you're gonna do is squeeze a little bit out. All right, and make sure your surfaces are clean. All right, a little bit underneath here. And let me show you a close-up of this. See how it's just underneath the head? That's exactly what you want. Then you go put this on here. Then you tighten everything down. Guess what happens? Now it's sealed. So give me a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do that to the rest of these bolts, and then I'll come back and we'll go ahead and torque the rest of it down.